And it's live.
I just want to talk about Matic because he has just the most unbelievable turnaround. He's excellent positionally, and I think what's been the massive change for Pogba, because I think Pogba's playing his best football since he joined, and he's not scoring goals. He got an assist yesterday for Bruno, but he's just playing disciplined. He's very effective on the ball. He looks like he has more time than anyone else, and I do think that's down to the fact that Bruno is an extra threat for the opposition. So while before Pogba was taking the ball off the centre backs and he was asked to do all the attacking work because Lingard was offering nothing but running, and Matic isn't a creative midfielder. But now what you're seeing is that Pogba's got a lot more time on the ball. He's picking the passes, and Matic is just putting on a simple, excellent, style of football. He's just doing everything right. All the simple, basic parts of football he's doing correctly. He keeps the ball moving. He's spotting the counterattacks in defence. He's so tidy in possession. And it's just easy for all the creative players in the team when you've got someone like Matic just mopping up and allowing you or setting that foundation for you to attack. So I just want to know your view, Robbie, on Matic. And I agree with Akash, by the way. I know we did a podcast earlier and I said I don't think Pogba will stay, and I'm not so sure if I want him to, but oh God, I want him to stay. Even if he's not 100% committed, I want him to stay because when he plays the way he's been playing, he's up there with De Bruyne. I know that sounds like me getting excited, and I'm usually a little bit more, I wouldn't say negative, maybe a bit more of a realist, but he's that good. So what's your view on Matic? And and what do you think of the midfield? Because Akash has already mentioned he thinks it's the best in the league, and I think it's definitely up there.
Yeah, I'm happy you're going more towards my views now and supporting them. But yeah, my midfield three was correct. So I do think that Matic's been outstanding in the holding role. I wouldn't say he's put a foot wrong throughout the games that he's played. He gives the team stability, which was necessary so that Bruno and Pogba could play at the best of their ability. I think he complements Bruno and Pogba, so it'll be difficult to replace next year or the year after because obviously he's in his 30s now. So honestly, I wish he was 10 years younger because he's been amazing this season. He's been amazing since the restart. But if I had to choose a replacement in the future, I don't think it would be like for like. I think it would be someone who would be very mobile, like Thomas Partey. I don't know. I've seen a few names pop up in the defensive role behind Pogba and Bruno, and it seems to be Declan Rice and Zakaria, but I feel as if Partey is just the perfect fit for a lot less money. I do think that also when Bruno scored the second goal, Brighton were just looking to get back into the game, I heard a quote from Gary Neville and it almost sounded like the class of 2008. I don't know if you can remember this goal in a few years, but it was one of my favourite players started it. It was Park, Rooney and Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And Matic, what was that? That ball was just fantastic to start it. And Greenwood did not stop. A beautiful pass and finish for Bruno, which was outstanding. I can't ask for any more.
Absolutely. It was absolutely exquisite. I mean, talk to me, Akash, about that goal, because for me, I felt like I had gone in a time machine and gone back, and I was sitting in Fergie's days watching Park, Ronaldo and Rooney tear Arsenal apart. And for me, it was all Matic. It was like Robbie said, it was the vision and Greenwood driving forward, clipping an absolute exquisite cross for Bruno just to power home on the volley. I mean, it was United at their counter-attacking best. And it's interesting that Robbie does talk about Partey because I think he looks like he's Arsenal bound, and I like him, but I'm not convinced by Declan Rice. I think he's good defensively. I'm not sure if he's got good enough quality on the ball in terms of his passing range to be a title-winning defensive midfielder. But it's quite clear that Oli does want a defensive midfielder who can play a little bit, and Matic's passing is actually very, very underrated. I would say that he's actually more of a like-for-like replacement for Carrick that we've been wanting for a long time. So what's your view on the third goal and where Oli sees this defensive midfielder position, or where he wants it to be, in what direction?
You know, when you look at the third goal,
most of the defensive midfielders couldn't have pulled that pass off. To be very honest, it's extremely difficult to get the precision and to get the right flight for the ball. It's extremely difficult, and that's how you know that Matic is technically gifted. He's extremely good with his shooting, and his passing is tremendously good. So
Yeah,
you need
great
to
technique.
yeah, he has great technique, and I think. I know I might be a little unjust on this, but I'm kind of glad it was Greenwood on that side of the wing who went and crossed the ball to Matic, because I somehow feel that had it been Rashford, he's been in good form this season, and I wouldn't slate him for that. But I think that ever since his return, he's been good with his passing, but he's not been in the most he's not been his old self. And I think he's holding
Yeah,
himself back. So I'm kind of glad that it was Greenwood on that side who crossed the ball to Bruno. And it's like deja vu, because we've seen this sort of goal when we played Arsenal, and I think as per the reports from the Athletic, this goal was faster than that goal that we scored against Arsenal. So you
wow.
can see that we were extremely efficient. We were extremely quick on the ball. Obviously, the quality of sides mattered. That time it was Arsenal, and this time it's Brighton. So obviously we need to take that into account. But you can just see that United are learning the trade again. We are learning how to be dangerous again. And I think I'm just happy that it was Bruno that who finished the chance off, because we need him to be at his best, because when he's in a good mood, he lifts the whole team up, and that's not been the case with Pogba individually, because let's be honest, he's not had the kind of support before Bruno, and I think having quality players around him just makes him want to shine as well as a United player, because that shows ambition and drive. When we talk about ambition and drive, it just reminds me of the days of Rooney wanting to leave the club and saying that the club weren't ambitious enough. And that's when we went ahead and made a few statement signings. And I think Bruno Fernandes is a statement signing by all means. And and talking about the United being good on the counter attack, I think it's Ole's been working extremely hard, and credit where due for with regards to Ole. And answering your second part of the question, can you just repeat that part?
Yeah, sure. So obviously we all love Matic, but he's not exactly young. He's starting to age. So where do you see Ollie going with the defensive midfielder position, and who would you like to see there? Because I think that we're going to probably address that position
We've
next summer,
had
unlike this
Yeah,
summer.
we have had so many links, with regards to Declan Rice. There were recent reports that Chelsea might go for him, and they might play him in the centre back position, because he's extremely versatile in terms of his positioning. He can play the centre back role and the defensive midfield role. So United were interested in Declan Rice, and there were several reports which suggested that United would make a move, but the price at that time before the coronavirus came was extremely high. So a lot of teams were just put off by the price, but I think a lot depends on whether West Ham stay in the league or not. And if they manage to stay up, then obviously West Ham will demand a good fee. But if they don't, then I think they'll sell him on the cheap. And Chelsea are favourites right now. But with regards to Partey, I think Arsenal are extremely well positioned to sign him. As per the reports that I've read, and a few people that I've spoken to who are, hearing things about this transfer, I think he is Arsenal bound, and I think there are a lot of positives in that deal for the Gunners. So obviously there are two aspects which they need to look at. One being that the affordability, and will Lacazette be going the other way? Will they be able to afford the release clause? Will the mode of payment that has to be done? So there are a lot of criteria which need to be met. So with regards to United, who I would like, obviously I'm a huge fan of Partey, but he's off to Arsenal. So I think United will have to continue looking. I'm also a huge fan of Zakaria. I think he's done extremely well. Uh, and also Ndidi. Ndidi is another option. We've been linked to him as well. A tremendous player. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. not as good as on the ball as Rice, in my opinion, because with regards to how Ole plays, I think Rice will be of a better fit. But
Yeah, I
Ndidi
agree.
is my choice if we don't get Partey.
Yeah, and Ndidi was always my first choice for years. But as I'm seeing you look at all the top sides and their defensive midfielder. Look at Liverpool. Fabinho is phenomenal on the ball, and then you're looking at City. They've got Roger, Fernandinho, phenomenal on the ball. Barcelona, Busquets. You look at Real Madrid. They've got Casemiro. So for me, I'm starting to think that although I love Ndidi, I love how he's explosive. He's like two men sitting there in defensive midfield. He's a very very intelligent player as well in his interceptions. But I think that if we're going to move forward and we're going to compete with the very best, that we need someone who's sitting deep who can be essentially can drop in between the centre backs and pick the ball up and spray those passes. And that's why, if it's just a curveball, if Van der Beek could be converted into a deep lying playmaker, that would be another very interesting option, because that allows you to keep the ball at an absolute ridiculous pace.